Hello, my name is Nick Gore. I'm a partner here at Thomas Solicitors, and today I'm going to give you a brief overview of the global talent route. So the information I'll talk about is correct at this date, 18th of December 2024, but there may be changes to come in the new year as we'll discuss. So in this session, we're going to cover an overview of the global talent route, its advantages and some disadvantages and what it can get you. And then we'll look at the various processes by which you can receive an endorsement. We'll talk about arts and culture applicants, those applying under the digital technology route, as well as those applying under the academia or research route as well. So the global talent route is a category designed to enable those who are endorsed as a recognised or emerging leader in their field to come or remain in the UK to work. It's for leaders and emerging leaders in one of the following fields, as we've discussed: arts and culture, digital tech, academia or research. It's an incredibly flexible immigration route. It allows an applicant to work for any organisation and in any role. For future settlement applications, you have to demonstrate you have earned money in your field since you are endorsed, but there is no specific time limit to have earned those funds. I've relied on as little as 1 month's income previously. The flexibility and prestige of this route often makes it attractive, and it may be a realistic option even for those just finishing university in some circumstances. There is a specific option for those who have won an eligible prize, and they do not need to apply for endorsement, so it's even quicker. The list of eligible prizes is available on the Gov website. So generally, individuals would be assessed against one of the following. So either exceptional talent, which assesses individuals who can show that they have already made a significant contribution as a leader within their field, or exceptional promise, which assesses individuals who are at the start of their careers who show promise in making contributions to their sector. This is a really high standard, either one. Exceptional talent applicants are often world leading, and exceptional promise applicants have to show that they have the potential to be world leading. Endorsing bodies are not afraid to say that an applicant is too early in their career to be considered, for instance. Individuals would generally need to be endorsed by an approved endorsing body. They have a number of requirements which we'll go through, but generally it is beneficial that a panel of experts reviews your work and your plans for the future rather than a Home Office official who is not an expert in your field. In general, we do see endorsing bodies as quite open and fair. So the global talent endorsing bodies are Arts Council England for arts, culture, architecture, fashion, film and television, the British Academy for Humanities and Social Sciences, the Royal Academy of Engineering for engineering, Royal Society for Natural Sciences and Medical Science Research, TechNation for digital technology, and the UK Research and Innovation, UKRI, for science and research. We will come on to the distinction between UKRI and the British Academy and Royal Society in due course. And some disciplines between the British Academy and Royal Society in particular can bleed into each other, and there is a helpful list of eligible disciplines and which body to apply under, which makes that a bit clearer. It is worth noting, even at this stage, that some fields are just not eligible under these routes at all. So, for instance, journalism is a classic one, which isn't eligible under the global talent route, which is a shame, I appreciate. It's also worth noting that the TechNation route endorsing body is due to be replaced in 2025. We're still awaiting news on this. There is some changes to come. And of course, if it's a new endorsing body, there could be new endorsing requirements. So we may have to revisit this webinar in the new year. Individuals who wish to apply under this route must make an endorsement application and a short visa application. The endorsement application can vary in length depending on the body, but generally there is a 10-document limit of evidence to provide and an opportunity to provide a personal statement explaining your plans for the future and to provide your CV. If the endorsement is approved, global talent visa applicants must make their application within 3 months of the date that their endorsement was received. It is possible to make the endorsement and immigration application together, although if the endorsement is refused, the immigration application will be as well. If an applicant is endorsed as exceptionally talented in any route or exceptionally promising under the academia and research route, they can apply for indefinite leave to remain or settlement after 3 years residence in the UK. Again, another reason why this route is so beneficial. Dependents are permitted under this immigration category. Indeed, there isn't a financial maintenance requirement. Again, another example of how this route is very flexible. However, dependents are not eligible for the accelerated route to settlement. So they would have to complete a full 5-year period of residence in order to qualify for indefinite leave to remain. So first we'll talk about the endorsing body for arts and culture, and it's generally Arts Council England. They undertake reviews on behalf of other organisations, including the British Fashion Council and Producers Alliance for Television and Cinema. Disciplines include dance, literature, music, visual arts, and those who work in film and fashion designers. Some disciplines are not eligible, although there is an appreciation that there are mixed disciplines, and again, the guidance does include a helpful list. The specific endorsement requirements can vary depending on the discipline, but generally applicants need to meet 2 out of the 3 requirements, and we'll go through these in some depth. So the first one is provide evidence of media recognition. This is normally national or international media recognition for the quality of your work in the form of detailed independent reviews, critiques, or critical evaluations of your work from credible critics in established media outlets. There is scope if applying as part of a group, but further evidence needs to be provided. So things like a sort of promotional interview generally doesn't meet the requirements. There needs to be an element of critique in the evidence to provide. The second point is provide evidence of international awards. So this needs to be within the last 5 years, and the award does have to be quite significant. Degrees, masters and PhDs and student or academic awards, grants and bursaries are generally not acceptable for exceptional promise, but full scholarships or fellowships can sometimes be acceptable for exceptional promise, such as a full scholarship to attend an artistic undergraduate or postgraduate course at a recognised university, conservatoire or art school. And the third requirement that can be met is provide evidence of appearances, publications, exhibitions, or distributions. This needs to be in 1 or more countries, and it can include things like adverts, posters, letters of support for performances, or distribution data as to where the work has been sold. Often applicants do rely on points 1 and 3, so that's evidence of media recognition and evidence of appearances, publications, exhibitions, or distributions, as they do match quite well together. It's often difficult but not impossible to meet the requirements. The scope of requirements such as distribution is relatively wide. I had an author, for instance, who sold a few hundred books and had some local media recognition. That was enough. He got endorsed, which was great. There is no exceptional promise option for those who work in film and TV. They have to apply for exceptional talent only. Fashion designers can rely on specific provisions for exceptional promise applicants, including having produced an exceptional graduating collection. So there is scope for those who are just finishing university to apply under the fashion route, which is excellent. And all applicants need to include specified referee letters that have to meet specific requirements, and they have to come from eminent individuals and cultural organisations. And there is often some confusion about which organisations can be considered cultural organisations. That is determined on a case-by-case basis, so you would need to think about that before deciding for them as your author. So the next route we'll talk about is tech applicants. Again, the endorsing body at the moment is Tech Nation. This will change by the end of the year, so this may or may not be relevant at the time that you are listening. It is one of the more difficult endorsing bodies. There's generally a 50% refusal rate, and the requirements have become increasingly pedantic in our opinion. Applicants will need to demonstrate 2 out of the 4 requirements, and we'll go through these. A track record of innovation in the digital tech sector. So that includes things like patents and new products, and there's again very specific evidence to provide for that. Second point is recognition for work beyond the applicant's occupation that contributes to the advancements of the field. That includes some specified voluntary and mentoring work, and again, the specific evidence that has to be provided is very, very pedantic these days. The third point is significant technical, commercial, or entrepreneurial contributions to the field. This is about the outcomes of your work, so for instance, an increase in profits, and again, some specific evidence can be provided, such as company accounts demonstrating growth, things like that. And the final point is academic contributions through research endorsed by an expert, and often that's fairly straightforward to provide if you do fall into that category. Applicants also need to demonstrate that they have been recognised or recognised as having the potential to be a leading talent in the digital tech sector in the last 5 years, and evidence can include earning a high salary amongst other factors to meet that specific requirement. And again, referee letters also need to be provided, and they need to be very carefully drafted in this case. It is a particularly discretionary route, And as I say, the endorsing body is due to change by the end of the year, and we do hope there will be some improvements to the requirements going forward. The final route is academia or research. That does encompass a number of different endorsing routes, includes the British Royal Society, and as well as the engineering routes and academia routes also. So there are a number of ways to receive an endorsement under this option, and this is probably the area many are interested in. So the first option is appointments. It's applicable for those who have accepted a position at a UK higher education institute, HEI, or a research institute, and have responsibility for academic, research, or innovation, leadership, and development. This is for individuals in senior leadership roles at a departmental, faculty, or institutional level, or direct or lead an individual or team in research project or research program of work, or an innovation project or innovative program of work. In general, it requires you to act independently in initiating, planning, and managing a research or innovation project or research or innovation program of work without supervision. The guidance quotes that this is likely to make you ineligible if your role is in an entry-level postdoctoral research position. So again, worth bearing that in mind. The endorsing body can themselves say that you are too early in your career to meet the requirements. If your role involves teaching and curriculum development, your endorsement application must confirm that directing or leading a research or innovation project or research or innovation program of work is a significant function of the role alongside your teaching and learning responsibilities. If this is the case, you need to provide a job description setting out the duties and responsibilities of the position and a statement of guarantee from the Director of Human Resources or equivalent at the appointing HEI or Research Institute that must meet specific requirements, mostly in terms of the information it requires. And there's a specified list of research institutes. So it is a very popular route if you do have that level of appointment. And if you do have that, I would certainly suggest looking into this specific way to receive an endorsement. The next one is individual fellowships, and in many ways this is even easier. It's applicable to those who have granted a specific fellowship or have held it within 5 years directly prior to the date of application. There is a list of applicable fellowships, and this allows a fast-track process as well. The list of fellowships is updated frequently and includes specific postgraduate fellowships, such as the British Academy Postdoctoral Fellowship. So if this does apply, you essentially need to provide very basic evidence that you've received the fellowship. Again, very, very straightforward way to receive an endorsement compared to what we'll talk about next. So one of the most common ways to apply is the peer review route. So I would suggest using this option if the other two don't apply, because this can be the most intensive and it is certainly the most discretionary. Applicants must provide a letter of support from an eminent person and provide details of their publications and awards. The endorsing body are considering your originality, creativity, independence, and intellectual leadership. You do have to be an active researcher, for example, in a university, a research institute, or industry. You don't necessarily have to be employed. So we've been successful with visiting fellows, for instance, but there is a degree of weaknesses there, which we can discuss if you do want to go ahead on that basis. You also need to have a PhD or equivalent research experience, including industrial or clinical research, if that is the case. The endorsers review your track record, career history, and contributions to the field to date, including your international standing, the significance of your publications, prizes and research funding awarded, patents, licenses, spin-outs, or other forms of intellectual property, and the impact of past innovation activity in an organization, academia, or as an individual. And the letters of support are really crucial here. You largely only need to provide one letter of support if applying as an exceptional promise applicant, but that letter needs to be very, very strong. So UKRI, this is one of the most common ways to meet the requirements if you do fall into the below categories. It is applicable to those who have their name specified or their job title, and this is more common, specified in a successful grant application. They'll be hosted or employed in a UK research organisation, and that's named on the UKRI published list. They're essential to the execution of a grant or award. The funder is approved by UKRI. The grant or award is worth a minimum of £30,000. The grant or award covers a minimum period of 2 years. There's a specified list of endorsed funders as well as that of host organisations. The research organisation itself should be able to provide supporting documents that meet the requirements, And this is generally a letter from the Director of Human Resources or equivalent at the organisation where you're working. And again, this needs to meet specific requirements similar to the academic point if you're applying under that option. And this letter needs to set out the name of the position and department where you work, that you've accepted the job offer or hosting agreement, that you are essential to the grant. It will be spending at least half of your agreed working time on the grant, details of the fair recruitment process if you are not specifically named on the grant application. In general, you would need to have an employment contract or hosting agreement lasting at least 1 year and tend to spend at least half of your time working on that grant. So there should be a degree of commitment there in order to fall under this category. So that is a bit of a whistle stop tour through the global talent route. I'm very happy to have any questions. I'm very happy to be contacted to discuss any of the points raised in this webinar. So you've got my contact details there, as well as my X or Twitter account there if you do want to contact me there. As I say, very happy to be emailed, and that's my email, ngore, Ngore, @carterthomas.co.uk. And then just briefly a bit about us. So we absolutely do provide assistance in both the endorsement applications as well as in global talent applications. We can provide assistance in reviewing and helping to strengthen your supporting documents, drafting the online application, and helping to draft those letters of reference as required. And we do have a very good reputation in the field. As you can see there, Legal 500 calls us an exceptionally strong reputation. Chambers and Partners says we are the gold standard as far as immigration is concerned. And Legal 500 again sets out we provides in-depth knowledge, which is very meticulous and incredibly helpful. So that is our webinar. I hope it has been helpful to you. As I say, if you do have any questions, please do get in contact with me. And otherwise, I hope you have a lovely day and that this has been helpful. Bye-bye.